So I've got a very interesting old versus new for you today that's just going to emphasize how much I just love toys. I love toys, man. Action figures and toys are my passion. And Playmates Toys is one of the coolest companies that has ever existed. Ninja Turtles was obviously revolutionary for the toy industry. I love all the different sculpts and the unique, wacky ideas. But Playmates had more up their sleeve than just TMNT. They also had a line in the 90s called Skeleton Warriors, which was super cool. It had a tie-in cartoon that I admittedly have never seen, and I probably will never watch. But I love skeletons, and I look at the Skeleton Warriors figures, and I love them. I have a couple. I've got Baron Dark, and I believe his name is Cyborn? Yeah, Cyborn's his name. Love Cyborn. I want to get the one with like the multi-arms. I want to get all the skeletons. Naturally, I don't care about the humans. Pretty sure no one does. But hey, these skeleton figures are super cool. I mean, just look at this Baron Dark, all the different designs. He's got chrome, he's got gems, he's got skulls all over him. And unfortunately, Skeleton Warriors did not last for very long. There was a whole series that was totally canceled, never saw the light of day. Very disappointing. However, I believe it was around 2014, a small little company called October Toys had a Kickstarter to bring back Skeleton Warriors. And the Kickstarter reached a certain point, enough for a new Baron Dark to be made. However, the Kickstarter didn't go beyond its goals, and it didn't bring back the whole line. So unfortunately, this Baron Dark from October Toys is a one-off, but I wanted to talk about it. I went to PowerCon a few weeks ago, and the first thing I picked up was that October Toys Baron Dark for about $20. Because, man, it's just cool. It's really cool. I love the idea of having this old versus new of what modern toy articulation and engineering is like and what 90s was like. So there's a very obvious difference, not only in the engineering, in the design, in the stylization, but also in the size and in the whole designs of them. So the October Toys one, as far as I am aware, is based off of Baron Dark's appearance in the cartoon, which was very similar to the toy. However, in traditional Playmate style, the cartoon wasn't nearly as, amazingly styled and designed as the toys were. There's so much character in this original Baron Dark action figure, and even though the October Toys, cartoon styling is really cool, it's not the same. So I wanted to make this old versus new kind of showing how the toy industry is different and how it approaches things at a different angle. It's not so much, creative, artistic interpretations as much as it must be exactly like how we remember it from when we were kids. Is that a bad thing? Not at all. But I just wanted to take this time to kind of talk about these two different action figures and how, even though they are the exact same character, how vastly different they are. They are very different. So there's not too much to talk about when it comes to... He kind of struggles to stand. There we go. There's not too much to talk about when it comes to the articulation of this original Baron Dark. Because, it's an old Playmates figure. What do you expect? The head swivels, the arms swivel. You do have a waist joint. The legs move forward and back. That's your lot. That's pretty much it. And in a traditional Playmate styling, he is pre-posed at the legs, so that articulation is not really important. But, you can move the arms, you can move the head a little bit. He does come with these really cool weapons. Look at this. They're not painted, but still, you got like this skull and spine integrated into the blaster. It is so cool. You can see it almost has a bit of an epaulette at the back. And you also have this really cool, spear sort of blade weapon that again has a skull on it. They are obviously unpainted, but there's a lot of paint that went into this guy regardless. So he's got tons of little details and bits on him. Like he's got these wrist bracers that actually are separate pieces from the bone. And look at all the detail on the bone too. The whole figure has a wash to it. I love how the epaulettes are made of skulls. And I love how it has these little tassels on him. He's got this little decoration. It's like a necklace. You can see it's not painted, but there's like this metal chain that goes to this necklace right here. And he's just got so much going on. He's kind of shadowing himself. But you got this necklace that actually can move. I think you can take it off, maybe? I don't think so. Maybe. I feel like I took it off once. Anyways, don't take it off because it looks really cool. It's this skull with the little design on the top and a little beard. And he's got this cool looking armor on his bones. Again, it's not all painted, but he's got this rope around his boots, and he's got these big furry boots. He's got these golden toe spikes, and he's got these big flat red sandals. He's got this really gorgeous cape. All these tatters and all this black at the end where it's been scorched. And his hair is so cool. I love the black and the gray. He's got this skull-like headdress that, again, has a little gem on it. Oh, man, and he's got these golden eyes. And he's got, like, this weird, like, decayed look to his face where it's not like a full skull. He still kind of has these lips that kind of, you know, sort of go around the teeth. So it's like he's got a little bit of his tendons left. It's so grotesque. And again, around the cape, you can see right in the middle there's a little tiny skull right at the cape. Man, this is one of those action figures. Every time I look at it, I'm just blown away. It is just so nicely detailed. It's so artistic, so creative. If I would have had this as a kid, I would have loved it. I'm so disappointed that I never walked into a toy store as a kid and saw Skeleton Warriors. They're so cool. And then, this one from October Toys still has a lot of those same awesome features to it. You can see his sword, which is a different weapon, still has some bones, still has some little skulls on it, and again, it's very nicely painted. I love the silver. He still has the chest emblem, but it doesn't have any of the chain detailing where it's like a necklace. But still, it's got the big red. You can see he's still got the skulls going around as the epaulets, and it has a little bit of extra blue detail, but it doesn't have any of the tassels. So, like, it still has a lot of the similar design motifs. Like, it still has the spiked wrist bracers, and it still has the golden spikes on the toes. But the production value isn't the same. It doesn't have the gems. It doesn't have the metallic chrome gold bits. It doesn't have the same level of detail. Like Playmates didn't need to make this turn. They didn't need to do that, but they did anyway, just to give kids another thing to play with on the toy. Now, granted, was this made for kids? No, this was made for adult collectors. This was made by an independent toy company that wanted to pay homage. I just tore his head off. They wanted to pay homage to a classic toy line by making it as it looked in the toy line's original cartoon. You can see the skull still looks really cool, but it has less of like a decayed look and more of just a straight up demon skull, which is still really cool. I think the eyes look really nice. They're not golden like on the original, but they've got this cool red glare. And the cape is also very nicely done. It still has the tatters, still has the scorching, but it just doesn't have the same 90s flair that the original does. It's very posable and actually uses the Glyos system. So you can pop off most of the joints and actually put this on Glyos figures like from O'Neill or Godbeast, which is really cool. I love how fun it feels. I mean, you can easily pop the head off, but still you can use that to take the cape off and, you know, have more of a, you know, less of a capey look to him, I guess. I don't know what to say there. But yeah, he's got some nice articulation. You can see I'm moving him around pretty solidly. You know, he's got a waist swivel, he's got hips, he's got knees. Probably his worst point of articulation is the ankles, just because they're on a swivel and a hinge, and there's no pivot. And I feel like the big furry boots do kind of limit how much forward you can move the ankles, so he does kind of want to lean back sometimes. But still, he's a really fun figure. He looks the part. I think he's really cool and fun. But you can just see, like, it was going for something different. It still has a nice paint wash, still has a lot of nice little details and things. But this wasn't designed in mind to be a fun action figure that exists on its own right. This is an homage. This is a fulfillment of having a Baron Dark accurate to the show. It's not a fun action figure designed to be this crazy cool looking skeleton guy that pops out at kids on this toy store shelves. This was made for collectors. And this just kind of shows the difference of, you know, toys then and now. Toys then were cool just for the sake of being awesome. And toys now are kind of on, you know, the shoulders of... And no one would have cared about this if it was just something that someone made on its own. Like, nowadays, things need to be based off of an old property. It's kind of disappointing. I would love to see more unique original designs. There are some toy companies that, you know, have their own unique, you know, IPs and things. But again, they're standing on the shoulder of another franchise. It's like, oh, cool military toy line. Yeah, but it's G.I. Joe. Oh, cool fantasy toy line. Yeah, but it's leaning on He-Man. You know, there's not a lot of things that can exist on its own nowadays. and it's kind of disappointing. I'm hoping the toy industry can move forward and be a little bit more original, but I still really like what the toy industry is putting out nowadays. It's still exciting to see new products and new independent toy lines, but I would just love to see something completely original and unique come out of the woodwork and be really mind-blowing. Even if it's not super articulated, super mega awesome, if it's a toy line like the original Skeleton Warrior, something that has insane detail, cool, multimedia elements to it with like the chrome and the gem and all these cool features, I'd love to see it. I would love to see a unique toy line that can stand on its own and be successful, not only with adult collectors, but also with kids. Because at the end of the day, the only reason why we are all here talking about toys is because we grew up with toys and we loved them as a kid and we just never grew out of it. That's why we're here. I have never met a single toy collector that has never touched a toy in their life, in their childhood life, but as an adult, they're like, man, they're cool. I want to buy a ton of toys now. I've never met someone. I'm sure they exist. I'm sure they're out there. It's cool that there's people with different backgrounds. But we're all here for the nostalgia. And yes, it's cool to be, fed awesome nostalgic things. But at the end of the day, what really made us love these things were these appealing designs and unique features and all the stuff that I just feel like a toy company could do, but they're just not doing it successfully quite yet. One of the only ones I could really think of that is more unique, I can't even recall the name right now. It's that line where I got the big sabotage guy. I don't remember the name. The big blue sabotage guy. That's a pretty unique line. But again, it's also just, alien stuff, special alien team. Not super unique. All right, I think I've rambled on long enough. These guys are really cool. Really awesome old versus new, in my opinion. I was so happy to get this new one. I say new, it's, 8 years old. But I was so happy to get it to take a look at, this comparison, because I've had the original Baron Dark for a few years now. I've been meaning to get the new October Toys one. Alrighty, guys, there we go. Special shout out to the patrons at Patreon. Thank you all so much for the continued support. Have a good one, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.